though they hardly ever give a damn about what other people think or say. Even INFJs inevitably have pet peeves. They might keep it a secret. Here are 10 things that a Sigma INFJ abhors completely. 10th, adhering to the surface. Small chat is not something that makes sense to Sigma INFJs. Rather, they see it as a social tradition. So they only do it when it's necessary for their line of work or career. However, they secretly always enjoy talking about strange possibilities, the most sinister secrets, internal struggles, and important discoveries. Even when people claim that everything is okay, they still want to know the truth about what's really going on in their minds. The introverted intuition function of Sigma INFJs allows them to see past the mask that most others wear. They wait patiently for others to come clean and take off their masks, sometimes pushing the conversation forward with some thought-provoking inquiries. They also find it frustrating when others just respond in a surface-level way. They hate the way society views important social exchanges. They detest the norms that society imposes. They just don't get how people, with all the societal norms they've been adhering to, can live happily, fully, and meaningfully. 9th, just arguing for the sake of arguing. Some argue in order to support their positions or to feel what it's like to prevail. Furthermore, some people reject reasoning in order to come out as authoritative and correct, rather than drawing conclusions or gathering data from the viewpoints of others. These illogical people usually have no concern for right or wrong and are shallow and self-absorbed. Instead of helping them to better themselves, fresh viewpoints make them feel more vulnerable. It follows that their desire to prove to the world their brilliance, deservingness, reason, and righteousness should come as no surprise. They simply want to defend their absurdities, so even if they realize they're incorrect, they won't acknowledge it. Furthermore, because Sigma INFJs value sound reasoning, they detest arguing for the sake of arguing. Have you ever encountered these types of people as a Sigma INFJ? 8th, having to let go of their moral principles. Because of their distinct worldviews, Sigma INFJs are idealists and visionaries. Their outlook on life is more defined and meaningful than that of the majority, since their high moral standards serve as a guide in everything. It follows that their importance to their standards, views, and ideals is not surprising. They see that everything is related in some manner, and that people are impacted by words, emotions, and deeds regardless of their age or geographic location. Because of this, Sigma INFJs usually have strong opinions about how things ought to be, especially in regards to mankind, society, and customs. Thus, anything or anyone who makes them compromise their morals in order to indulge in fleeting pleasures will be hated by them. They would instantly distance themselves and redirect if they ever witnessed someone compromising their morals. They never sacrifice their morals in order to fit in, and they much rather be left alone. 7th, not being given enough attention. Strongly opinionated people, Sigma INFJs hate not being able to voice their opinions. Any argument where someone invalidates their viewpoints just because they disagree with mainstream belief is intolerable to them. Some people prohibit Sigma INFJs from sharing their ideas because they are thought-provoking and disturbing. Due to their rebellious character and too complex views, some people have a bad opinion of the perspectives held by Sigma INFJs. Because their opinions differ from theirs, they choose to ignore them and quiet them rather than listen to them. INFJ Sigmas hate this. They won't even attempt to prove their case to such individuals if they don't feel heard because it isn't worthwhile. Do you, as the Sigma INFJ, also end one-sided fights with grace? 6th, the unwillingness of people to commit. The capacity for commitment is the first quality that Sigma INFJs look for in a partner. For them, this is a deal breaker. Therefore, don't think of becoming close to a Sigma INFJ if you're not ready to commit to them. Why? Since you will already be removed from their life. You will eventually be asked about your principles and views. When concerns and emotional aloofness creep in, Sigma INFJs won't waste time holding out hope for a relationship. If people observe a resistance to getting better, they won't waste their time trying to believe in change either. People should be seen for who they are, not for what they might become, according to Sigma INFJs. They can tell what is worth their time and what isn't, even though there are moments when they choose to find the positive aspects of others despite their flaws. 5th, an ability to show emotional sensitivity. Sigma INFJs are extremely sensitive and emotional, thus they require someone they can be vulnerable with. They flourish in connections where they feel free to share their most private ideas and emotions. They will wonder if the friendship is right for them if they ever feel constrained, invalidated, or constricted. Because they are drawn to emotional intelligence, Sigma INFJs expect their close circle to be emotionally vulnerable. They find purpose in life through having candid and in-depth talks. It's not as though they rely on them. Simply said, they don't see the purpose in relating to someone who merely makes them feel frustrated, doubts them, and ignores their emotional needs. How do you tell if someone isn't emotionally vulnerable as a Sigma INFJ? Fourth, the tension that comes up when you talk to people who have narrow minds. Sigma INFJs don't usually get along with people who have traditional beliefs. Simply put, they don't get why some individuals react negatively to advancement and progress. If they were these folks, they would gladly welcome new ideas that enhance their standard of living. They therefore become angry anytime they engage with these narrow-minded individuals. Whenever they interact with people they are unable to have an open conversation with, conflict constantly results. The tension and conflict that always develops after days or weeks of these kinds of meetings is one of the things they find objectionable about traditional people. While Sigma INFJs don't mind if individuals believe whatever they want, they can't stand the mindset and actions that go along with it. They won't let the minor disagreement destroy their atmosphere, but they may live in harmony and treat others with civility. Third, the absence of responsibility. The Sigma INFJ is irritated by those who never accept responsibility for their errors and provide an apology. They hate denial and arrogance, but they respect accountability and humility. Sigma INFJs detest those who are unable to examine their own actions closely and consider the underlying causes of their misconduct. Instead than taking ownership of their errors, accepting responsibility, and growing from them, these people would prefer to place the blame on their friends, family, and significant other. Because they never own up to their faults in the first place, they are unable to grow. They think they are too wonderful to get any better. Sigma INFJs hate this kind of thinking. They don't want to communicate with, be in a relationship with, or be connected to someone like this. Do you know any Sigma INFJs in your social circle who never take responsibility for their mistakes? How would you handle them? The second is that people's opinions are influenced by biases and preconceptions. Bias and prejudice are always present in the opinions of some individuals about the arguments put forth by the Sigma INFJ. They are unable to resist allowing their preconceptions to cloud their understanding rather than listening to and evaluating them impartially. Therefore, when engaging in debate with these kinds of people, Sigma INFJs feel awful. While debate is not insulting, some conventional and narrow-minded individuals perceive it to be. They discriminate against the Sigma INFJ for violating their old ideals and misled them, rather than giving them gratitude for enlightening them to better, more modern viewpoints. Even if they are criticized for holding unusual opinions, Sigma INFJs will not back down from a battle. They enjoy casting shadows over people's thoughts and are aware of the real motivations behind them. First on the list, poisonous and draining relationships. The propensity of certain individuals to distort the truth in order to support their position perplexes Sigma INFJs. They find it intolerable when someone uses what they refer to as tough love to manipulate them and force them to do things on their own dime. Relationships should benefit both parties, in their opinion. Never did. One-sided relationships are poisonous. Some will even tell lies to hide their false beliefs. But it's not their traditions or beliefs that make them nasty. It is a result of their selfishness. Therefore, Sigma INFJs would unabashedly loathe these kinds of partnerships in order to preserve their inner serenity. They would much prefer keep to themselves than engage with poisonous individuals. How do you handle toxic individuals? Amazingly, none of these things could bring a Sigma INFJ down without their permission, despite the fact that they may hate them. Do you also hate all these things as a Sigma INFJ? Which one, if any, could you tolerate?